lost in this hole, the turn in the ball, sleeping some fragments of life from me.
Here we are.
Off we go.
Fresh from the abyss.
Fresh from Germany.
I'm having a from Germany. Yes.
Yeah.
We have
Germany.
Yeah, we didn't do one last week, did we?
No,
No.
well, at the best intentions to, and if we were driving out, because Baz and I flew in separate,
Yeah.
first class, Lufthansa first class. No, we flew out separate to the rest of the guys.
Because we don't travel with them guys.
Because we insist on it.
No, we don't travel with them.
No, we had to fly out into Nuremberg into Munich and then do some press. Before the other lads got there. So if we were going in the van, I'd have taken some mics and we could have probably done a podcast on the road.
Because there was enough time.
There was enough time. Bloody enough time.
How long was their
Absolutely.
journey out? Is it 20 hours straight drive?
Yeah, it's brutal.
20 hours.
You know.
Eh? Brilliant. Eh?
It's a brutal drive. The distances in there. You know, the UK is is quite small. You get from one end to, you could hit the south coast in, 5 hours maybe.
Yeah, it'd be a good run.
Probably even quicker from where we are. And then Germany's it's so much bigger.
It's an all new ball game.
It's a whole new ball game.
So to speak.
And you got to get there, so you got to drive through France, Belgium, whatever.
No, we didn't, of course.
No, we didn't. We drove back though with him.
We did. That was 16 hours, wasn't it?
With the riffraff.
Yeah. But anyway, we're not here to complain.
No, not at all.
Don't feel too sorry for us.
No. But otherwise, we would have done the podcast on the road. But I wasn't gonna bring all that stuff on through airport security. It's bad enough as it is these days.
Oh no,
so
yeah. What are these strange? What's all these wires and stuff?
Yeah,
Can't get away with
it
it.
will be touch your toes time. I can tell you. Yeah. But we're this is the Massive Wagons podcast. We're going to talk about music and all that kind of
music and stuff,
various related.
It's basically whatever we can think about to talk about 5 minutes before we film it.
Don't tell them that. Agonize for days and write the script.
I don't know. Let's talk about this. Yeah, that sounds good.
It's intentionally meant to be kind of conversational and off the cuff, But yeah, thanks for joining us anyway. If you're listening to this, I appreciate it,
Yeah.
What we're going to talk about today anyway.
Well, I thought today's subject, we want to keep it a bit light-hearted today. We do a few serious topics, and they do seem to... They seem to be a bit down sometimes, don't they? Don't sound like whinging in the morning, but it's sometimes nice to do a bit of a fun topic. So I thought I'd throw the cat amongst the pigeons because that's what these things are all about. And what was that?
that was the cat amongst the pigeons.
Okay, that's what it looked like, of course. I thought I'd throw the cat amongst the pigeons and really sort of. We're big fans of a band called Airborne. And I've noticed over the years, well, if you've been following us for years, you'll understand that, we were big fans back in the day and we followed them around a bit. And one of the main reasons we started a band, But I've noticed they have had their fair share of stick. I've had my share of online, I don't do it anymore because I don't have the wherewithal for it, not rows, but hot debates with people over the Airborne haters. There are people that love them, like me, who get it, and there are people that hate them because they're just an AC/DC rip-off band. Apparently, that's what they say. Now, I thought it'd be an interesting thing to cover that. Maybe talk about both sides of the argument, because I do get it. I do see where some people come from, but I don't know why they don't just lighten up and accept it for what it is.
Yeah,
because it is very good. They are very good at what they do, but it seems to get on people's nerves.
Well, yeah, I mean, specifically, you talk specifically about Airborne, but it does happen with many bands, though, doesn't it? You hear a band and they may have a sound or an obvious influence or whatever to another band, and that's enough for some people to just totally switch off.
It does, yeah. But as time goes on, as the years roll by, there's only so much music can be made with this certain amount of notes you've been given, and it's inevitable that more and more bands will start to sound, I suppose, like bands from yesteryear. Not always in a bad way, I don't think. When Airborne hit the scene, they divided opinion, but for me, it was it was a group of 20-year-old lads doing it. You know,
Yeah, the energy.
I love Airbourne. I love AC/DC. I love seeing them a number of times, and I will never not love them. And they're legends. But they're not giving out the energy they were when they were 20. And Airbourne have come along, and they're not 70-year-old blokes, are they? They are giving it.
Yeah,
what for? Like,
yeah,
loud, and they're playing in the venues that we never saw AC/DC playing.
exactly. Yeah.
You know, and you get in that atmosphere, that Gibson Marshall beer drinking, hot and sweaty atmosphere, which is amazing to us.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Well, for starters, with Airborne, I always thought it was an unfair comparison anyway. If anything, they're more of a Rose Tattoo rip-off band. You know, they sound more like they sound more like other bands. No, I don't think they're a rip-off band at all. You know, but they sound far more like other bands than they do like AC/DC. Other than the fact they're Australian.
Yeah,
it's like
that's no reason to. That's no
I don't
reason
know.
to.
Are they? You know,
yeah. Who cares?
I personally, there's like subtleties within the music that are like far different. You could say that AC/DC have got far more blues in their sound. They've got far more kind of, you know, like Stonesy kind of vibes, really.
Oh,
Especially in, well, to be honest, I was going to say especially in the early stuff, but it's only really the 80s period of AC/DC where it got, and particularly like, was it Razor's Edge with Chris Slade, you know, which is very, very kind of driving, you know. And then the Phil Rudd albums are they swing, you know what I mean? There's a laid back kind of groovy backbeat to them.
Well, I was going to say, if you were going to compare Airborne to AC/DC, you maybe could only compare them to a period in time, really.
What's really to the Razor's Edge?
Yeah.
That's what I'd say. And
but songs like what album is Fire Your Guns off?
Yeah, Razor's Edge.
Is that Razor's Edge?
Yeah.
Well, there you go. That's if you were going to tell me that Airborne sound like AC/DC, that's the only real stuff I would say they sound like. And I think they get because of the Australian thing, they get the unfair comparison.
Yeah.
I mean, they're obviously it's well documented. They are big AC/DC fans. And maybe the performance airs on the side of Angus, you know, the relentless energy. But then in that capacity, you could compare us to Airborne, to AC/DC in some degree.
Well, they're far more like furious, you know what I mean, than AC/DC ever were. They've got a kind of a real intensity about them that just does not let up at all.
No, the whole band are at it, aren't they?
Yeah, the whole band are at it. They don't have the Jack or, you know, down payment blues or anything like that.
No.
It's like it's all fire your guns. You know what I mean? That's what Airborne do.
Track, innit?
And so yeah, I mean, I think it's very, very just lazy. Especially if you're not into rock music, I can easily understand how one band would sound much like another. But if you're into rock music, you shouldn't be saying things like that. That's just bloody lazy. It's just like, come on, you're not paying attention there. You're not really, you know. I don't know. If I heard that from someone, I would just be like, well, you've not really paid much attention.
You're very lazy assumption, isn't it?
You're just saying it's almost like you're repeating it because someone else has said it, you know.
Yeah, I agree. And
there's other bands out there, like more recently Greta Van Fleet. Yeah. You know, they've got a real kind of a certain 70s band, maybe, you know.
I'd have made this podcast about those guys, but I don't really know enough about them to talk about them, really. But they get it in the neck even more.
Oh, well, I mean, I think they're just very clever about it, though, you know, because I think they've deliberately done it, you know, all that Highway Song and all that, especially the first album. They are. They're, I'm going to say it, Led Zeppelin, you know, they are absolutely doing the Led Zeppelin thing.
Yeah.
But it's obviously intentional, and it's bloody worked as well, hasn't it?
Yeah. But now they've stepped away from that, haven't they? The last couple of albums have been different. And
I thought the second album was great, actually. And I wasn't that into the first album, and I had no.
Looks like, is it The Garden's Gate?
Yeah, I can't remember. It's the one with the blues.
I'm not insulting them or anything. It's a great album.
But if anything, they sound more like the bands, the 70s bands that came later on in the 70s that were then sort of following Led Zeppelin's footsteps then. So they were almost sounded more like Rush were, I think. and
Yeah.
and things like that back then.
But they do have, however you feel about their influences, and if people say, "Oh, it's just a rip-off," they're great songs.
Yeah,
They are great songs. Like they write great songs. They might be in the vein of Led Zeppelin. But then again, it's funny because I remember a bit of a debate I got into about the Airborne thing online with somebody, and they said to me, they're saying things, Queen never ripped anyone off, and it's like, well, it's not strictly true, is it? And well, you could, Led Zeppelin. I mean, how many people did bands did Led Zeppelin apparently rip off?
Well, yeah, I mean, lifting chunks of songs that were already written,
It's just kind of accepted, isn't it? It is what it is. You can only take so many notes and so many things and do your own thing with it. If you don't like it, that's fair enough. But
it's like once you've taken all the ingredients of, Led Zeppelin, even if we were to cover a Led Zeppelin song or an AC/DC song or whatever, if Massive Wagons were to do that, play the song as close to, like, I don't know, Kashmir, whatever. We were going to play that, and we play it note for note. It's not going to sound like Led Zeppelin because the elements within the band, everyone plays differently.
I said we're rubbish for a start.
Well, and we're rubbish, that it would sound rubbish. But
Zeppelin.
It's like you can't just say that. Well, they're a rip-off band, therefore I don't like them. Purely for that fact alone. It's like, well, I don't understand. What does that mean? Well, do you like Led Zeppelin? Yeah, I love them. Well, why don't you like them then?
It never makes no sense.
It makes no sense.
It makes no sense. I don't. Yeah, that never. I just never thought of that.
You want more of that? Well,
there it is. Half the age, twice as loud, and ready to rock for the next 30, 40 years. Yeah. Go and see them. That was my argument. Go and see them. Go and see them and tell me you didn't enjoy it. If you're a rock fan and you like AC/DC and you like Larry rock and roll, you don't like Airborne. Go and see them and tell me you don't like them. I don't get it. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Those lads are carrying the torch for it, aren't they? If you can think of any more bands in the comments or anything, if you could think of any more bands over the years that have had the same stick, or people have said the same things as, from back in the day, maybe,
Well, I can certainly think of Muse and Radiohead.
Right.
Those early Muse albums,
right,
are very Radioheady. To the point where I hear some, because I'm not massively familiar with Radiohead songs. I hear some Radiohead songs, and I'm like, I've not heard that Muse song before.
Yeah,
and it's like,
right.
oh, it's Radiohead. That's why.
Yeah.
But so yeah, it does happen, and there's plenty of people out there that don't like Muse for that exact reason. No, they're just a Radiohead rip-off band.
Another big line of bands, which I'm going to mention. I know. I always get stick for it, but I don't really care. It's the Beatles and Oasis.
Yeah,
and Oasis, and God knows how many other dozens of 90s indie bands that all appeared with ball haircuts and Parker coats. There were dozens of them. The next Oasis. Everybody wanted to be the next Oasis, didn't they? All these sort of indie bands, and Oasis get there. Well, they're just a crap Beatles. Well, again, that's just a matter of opinion, isn't it?
I don't get where that comes from either. I'd never looked at Oasis and thought the Beatles.
Do you think if bands like Oasis and bands like Airborne, they clearly wear their influences on their sleeve, and they don't shut up talking about their favourite bands? Oasis never shut up talking about the Beatles, and Airborne arguably mention AC/DC a lot in his videos and that, and that's fair. And do you think if they'd never mentioned them, people would have the same opinion?
Maybe. This is why we talk about Kiss all the time. Because that's who we secretly want to be.
Yeah.
No one's ever connected those dots.
Yeah, because we never mentioned it, have we?
Yeah.
They're just like a shit Kiss rip-off band.
You're just a shit Kiss. I don't think I'd ever get over that, to be honest.
It's the ultimate insult.
We've had some stuff leveled at us over the years, but you're just a shit Kiss would.
If we don't get that T-shirt made,
you're just a shit Kiss. That's a great name for a band, actually. Shit Kiss.
Shit Kiss.
I think that's a really. It's like so Kerrang, isn't it? Shit Kiss. So you got to watch Shit Kiss. Yeah, they're supporting a Wet Leg or something. I don't know. Hot Milk, all that.
Shit Kiss. Oh dear.
Anyway, but yeah, I mean, Please let us know. I'm intrigued. There's a lot of bands out there. Marillion, Genesis, they were just called Genesis back in the.
Well,
They got a lot of them comparisons. Just a Genesis rip-off.
I'd be interested. I'd love to talk to. I'd love to talk to some of these bands, and I never would. If I ever met Airbourne, I would never. That's the last thing I'd fucking talk to them about. But it'd be interesting to.
Does it bother you?
Does it bother you?
Yeah,
Does it
I'm pretty
bother
sure they
you?
do. I'm pretty sure they're not asked when they're playing
that'll
every major festival in the world.
Shit, do they? They're going to go crap what the naysayers think at all. You're always going to get naysayers.
And you know what? It can work in their favour.
Oh yeah.
If you spin it to be what? Oh yeah, they're the next AC/DC. Oh no, don't say that about us.
Yeah. How dare you?
Yeah. Oh, we're the next biggest band.
Well, yourself
arguably of all time.
You know yourself. Upsetting a minority is well worth it for turning on.
Yeah.
A massive wealth of new fans, and the minorities are always 10 times louder than the majorities.
Of course,
anyway,
they are,
aren't they?
yeah.
So it always seems like they're getting more stick than they are, doesn't it? They probably don't even get it all the time anyway.
No, they don't.
I just see it online, and they don't. In fact, you know what? I haven't seen it for a while, to be honest. But it used to happen a lot, and it used to bother me. I just used to get fired into people. Go, what are you on about? What are you on about? Really?
You've mellowed out now.
I have. I don't care as much anymore. More fun about being a shit kiss.
A shit kiss.
Okay, no.
Well, that's something I've always kind of wondered about the what bands think of that. Like you said. People have leveled it. Obviously, we're not the same dizzying heights as your Airbornes and your Greta Van Fleets, but when people have mentioned, certainly like Status Quo and Slade about us,
I like that.
I like it.
Sled of fucking awesome.
I think it's completely ridiculous. It's inaccurate, but
yeah. Okay, no.
it just says you've heard one or two songs and then that's it. You've made your mind up.
I don't think we've ever had it. I don't think we've been fortunate. I don't think we've ever had any comparisons in a negative way, have we? We've had nice comparisons. There are nice comparisons. People have been, oh, you sound like fucking...
No.
You remind me of Slade.
We've definitely had it.
We probably have.
I think we've had the AC/DC one, actually, because...
We've been called a fucking pub band plenty of times.
Yeah, I think
like
we have.
Shit pub band.
To be honest, I think we have had the
that.
AC/DC one before.
Have we?
Yeah. Which again, it's just like...
Well,
what are you talking about? We sound nothing like them, We really sound
I'm a short ass.
Like
That's about all we've got in common with, isn't
it? Yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah, our drummer's a crackhead.
and he tried to get someone killed.
Allegedly.
Man. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's a weird one. It's a totally weird one, and I think it's just lazy of people,
Yeah.
It's inescapable, You hear a band, maybe I do it. Hear a new band and instantly thinking like, what are they like? Oh, they remind me of this. Oh, they remind me of that.
Yeah. Do you let us know again in the comments? Do you look for it? Do you get excited by bands that sound like the bands you love, or does it like turn you off? Does it piss you off? Do you think, oh, it's rubbish? How dare they sound like my favourite band? Or do you automatically think, yeah, they sound like my favourite band, brilliant, I love Get More of This is brilliant, they sound like the Wild Arts, or they sound like AC/DC, or they sound like Slade, oh, I love this. Or does it put you off?
Yeah. Because I think I do it, but I'm not like doing it in a negative way. I think it's just like it analyse, subconsciously I'm hearing stuff like Coheed and Cambria. I've been listening to a lot of them lately, and it sort of bothered me. Like, it was like, I can't work these guys out. I can't work them out. And it's like, well, what do I mean by that? I like it, by the way. I'm not saying I don't like it. I'm like, I like it, but I don't know why I like it.
You can't put it in a box.
And maybe why I like it is because it is like nothing I've heard before.
Love it.
It's like, yeah.
But that experience is so unique now that you don't know how to handle it. It's
syntax error.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird.
You don't get bands that sound completely like that now. And it's a ball. And when you look at bands, the difference between bands and the business, that bands strive to sound their own way, but a lot of the business side of it want you to sound a certain way or look a certain way to fit in, to pick fans up. They don't want you to be a maverick. They don't want you to sound different. They want you to sound like someone else that's popular so they can market you and sell it to certain people. So there's always that little clash there, isn't there? Not always, but I'm assuming there's a clash there between the band want and what maybe management or a label want.
What's marketable, yeah.
What's marketable. And I can understand both angles. I can see both sides of it. But yeah, it's interesting.
It is very interesting, yeah. And as time goes on, and like, you know, you make a good point about where does music go? It always finds a new place to go, you know, in every genre, you know. But
thrash country.
That's coming next, yeah.
Death country.
Thrash gospel.
Death blues.
Oh, happy days. I don't know.
What fucking hymns?
Yeah, hymns, yeah, thrash hymns. But that, you know, it's like, I don't like it when it's just done for the sake of being different. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a rare thing where it's something new and it's cohesive and it's like, and it kind of makes sense. It's like, oh, I've never heard this played like this before. You know, I'm not interested in some nose flute, you know, nose flute rock or something.
I think whatever you think of Airborne, however you think of them, one thing you have to admit, even if you die hard about it and you think they're just an AC/DC rip-off band, whatever you think, they are 100% authentic.
Oh, yeah, they live it. Yeah,
they are passionate and they are authentic people, and they are an authentic Australian rock band. You know, they are the real deal. Yeah. And you cannot take that away from them. Whatever you think of their music, they are the real deal. And they mean it, don't they? And they've been doing it a long time and they've not slowed down. And they're just flat out stuff, innit? Yeah.
So this is a challenge for you. If you they'll be out there. And if you ever said that or thought that about a band, particularly new bands, you know, sort of bands that are emerging over the last, I say new bands, you know, 10, 20 years. It's almost like 20 years ago is a new band. Airborne have been around for nearly 20 years now.
It's mad, isn't it?
Mental.
Absolutely mad. But he still looks about 24, doesn't he?
But you know what I mean? It's like, you know, just challenge yourself to not do that, because I like I said, I do it, and I'm trying not to. I open my mind really to Greta Van Fleet. I heard, you know, because the first thing I heard about them was the Led Zeppelin thing. It was like, have you heard this Led Zeppelin?
It was like it was louder than the music.
Yeah, exactly. And then I listened to it, and initially it was like, that is very Led Zeppelin-y. That sounds a lot like Led Zeppelin. The production, his voice, which is fantastic. The song itself, you know, it was so, and all that, yo mama, you know, all the stuff, all the
he
Robert,
sounds like he's sort of improvising as he's singing.
all the Robert Plantisms, and
the fashion as well as
and the fashion, yeah. We need some of that. We need some of them sequins.
Should do next week's podcast just like that.
and then it's like, all right, okay, I see what they've done there. But then it's almost like the second album came out, and they still got all that going on. But it's like, it just felt real. It just felt like, oh, that sort of been stripped away a little bit. Yeah. And it's just great music. It's just great songs played well.
And they're still, and it's not made a dent in anything they've done. No. All that negative, anything like you said. Sometimes a negative review or a big negative comment does you the world of good, because it makes people pay attention. Yeah, it makes people go, what Led Zeppelin rip-off band? What? Let's have a listen to this. Oh, I like that. That's it. Yeah. As long as it's drawing attention, you're going to pick people up. And the negative people are always louder than the positive people anyway. So it's not always a.
They're playing an arena tour, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
They're
playing an arena tour in the country we're from.
Exactly.
What can be said about that, eh? They're doing something right, aren't they?
Play.
Fair play to them.
And they're all about 12 years old.
Take my hat off, yeah. Yeah.
Another one as well, I mentioned quickly, Blackberry Smoke, Lynyrd Skynyrd. You know, they had a bit of that.
Yeah.
It's just Lynyrd Skynyrd.
But they are fucking slick.
Well, I would say, I'm probably going to get some stick, but I would probably say they got more better songs, really, than Skynyrd.
They got more better than Lynyrd Skynyrd.
I love Blackberry Smoke, amazing band.
God, what a band. Charlie Starr is... the most, and what a name for a start. Is that his real name? I hope it's his real name. I'm not sorry, Charlie, if I don't know that, but he's not watching this, so what does he give a fuck? He's the most effortless frontman I have ever seen.
He's pure class.
He just walks on stage and he's just like, You don't have to do out, and it's just he just hits that guitar. He sort of plays it so gentle. He sort of plays it at the side of his leg, doesn't he? And it's just like, you cool bastard.
Oh, he's
so cool.
so tasteful.
Yeah. No band are, aren't
amazing.
they? No band are.
But yeah, let us know your thoughts.
Yeah.
If you want to call us a shit kiss, that's fine.
That's fine. I can take it.
If you want to,
Can handle that.
just give us your thoughts. Going to get a little bit more active in the comments on the old YouTube. Sorry, we do let them slip, but we do read them. We really do. We read everyone.
I answer as many as I
so
can.
let us
There's a
know.
couple of videos I think I've got to catch up comments on the week before last, but caught up on most of them now.
But yeah, let us know. Is there any bands that you feel get this, and or do you disagree with us? Do you think it's entirely justified to think, well, it's not original, therefore, not? Yeah, not. Maybe that is. Maybe you do have a point. Maybe there will be a time when I do hear something and I go, wow, that's just too much like that.
Yeah.
But I probably don't like whatever that is. Do you know what I mean?
Maybe, yeah.
There's a lot of 80s bands that, all followed in the Motley Crue, sort of Skid Row, Bon Jovi kind of.
Yeah.
They spawned a thousand,
1,000 shite bands. Poorly judged bands.
There's a lot of that followed them in their wake. And there's a lot of them that I find hard to distinguish between.
Hard to swallow.
Another album name that never got, never made it.
I'll write that on the list.
That's Steel Panthers next.
Hard to swallow. Look, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Right, we'll leave it at that anyway. But cheers, guys. Thank you for watching or listening.
See you next week.
Like, subscribe.
Do that. Do it. Something about a bell.